Welcome to Contemporary Issues on Rawal TV. This is your host, Atif Mir. Joining us today to discuss the concept of leadership in the setting of corporate world is Dr. Mahmood Khan. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Dr. Mahmood Khan is the CEO and president of ICT Global Services. He is one of very few individuals in the world who are certified as transformational leadership process executive. In his personal capacity, Dr. Khan helps organizations develop strategic plans, corporate branding, Six Sigma, and knowledge management. He is also a guest speaker in various international conferences, and he has talked about the role of leadership in economic growth. Again, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
First things first, what is leadership?
Well, leadership is first of all, thank you very much for inviting me, Atif. I appreciate that. Leadership is basically it's an influence. It's not a title. You won't find a person or individual whose title is a leader. So leadership is essentially a set of qualities within the individual, how you actually deliver. As the name implies, lead. So there are three major components of leadership. So you lead a certain group to achieve certain goals. So when you look at the situation, so you're basically looking at, you need to have the people or the organization or the team that you're leading. You're leading them to certain goals. So the goals have to be set forth. The goals got to be achievable. Goals got to be strategic in nature. And then you yourself, how you basically massage them together, take the people towards those goals. And so therefore you got to have certain qualities, and those qualities are called as leadership qualities. As once Socrates said, a team of donkeys led by a lion can very easily defeat a team of lions led by a donkey. So essentially, it is all boils up to the person, individual themselves who take the people to achieving the goals, and that's what the leadership. And as we go along, I'll give you some more examples.
Okay, let me go back to what you just said. Goals should be strategic. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, the thing is, the time has changed. In the old days, what used to be long-term, because of the fast-paced environment that we are now in, the way the technology is changing, the way the needs and necessities are changing, those long-terms have actually moved into short-term. But nevertheless, the concept doesn't go away. If you want to get success, if you want to succeed, you need to think strategically, think long-term. Now, I give you a very layman kind of example. If I'm thinking for something that's going to happen after a certain time, I would be actually fixing my today so my tomorrow can be fixed. How do I fix my today? I need to learn the lesson from yesterday. As once someone said that you cannot apply yesterday's methods on today's. Yes, of course, but you learn from yesterday, you fix your today, and you basically working towards tomorrow. The people who do not look at tomorrow, their today is always affected, disturbed. So the long-term strategic thinking is that you fix today and you think of tomorrow to achieve the long-term goals.
But the future goals should also be, should identify all the things that fit in together to make that goal successful. As you were saying, that if you're building the big towers, then you should also be thinking about the transportation system as well as the sewage system.
Absolutely,
Sanitation.
absolutely.
So it should be the eclectic vision of the leader that makes him him or her a successful leader.
Absolutely, absolutely. See, you work in today's environment. If someone asks me that, Mahmood, have you seen tomorrow? Is there anything, something that's called as tomorrow? There is no such thing as tomorrow. Tomorrow is a feeling. Tomorrow is something that I'm trying to achieve. Tomorrow is something that I'm trying to achieve. But again, the only thing that's available to me is just today, the present state. Okay. So I need to fix this.
Let me go back to an example you mentioned in the beginning, Socrates, that a team of donkey led by a lion will produce much better results than a team of lion led by donkeys. What makes lion the lion and what makes donkeys the donkeys?
Good, excellent question. Lion and donkeys are just, two characters. Doesn't mean that donkey is a bad thing. Lion is a good thing. There are people who love donkeys as animals. And
metaphorically speaking.
Yes, exactly. But actually, Socrates said that. I didn't say it. I just believe in it.
No.
I think
we trust your respect for donkeys, but
okay.
we can
So essentially, the person who is leading the team. There are certain factors which constitute to leadership. When you talk about the leadership is basically a package delivery. You deliver the complete package to the environment, to the people, to the organization that you work with, the people that you're leading. So I came up with some kind of analogy. So when we say it's a package, it's a body language. It's the entire body of that human being which is delivering different messages. And those messages are very consistent, very integrated to each other, and they're consistent in their capacity, and they're delivering the same message. For example, the head. So when the head of a leader, you think proactively, you think strategically. So you think of the future, and then you fix your today. Then comes down to the eyes. So with the eyes of the leader, you see the good things hidden in the people. What are the good things hidden in the people? What are the strengths of my people? So I can take advantage of those strengths and utilize those strengths to achieve the corporate goals. Then we come down to nose. So you are keeping your nose at the respectable level, but at the same time, understanding the personal issues of the people. Because how close you are with the people, as effective you are with the people, understanding their needs. Then we come to the ears. You listen carefully. You listen carefully, you comprehend, you understand, and then you actually process the information, and then you deliver it. Then you use your mouth. You speak gently, yet respectfully. Okay? And you basically communicate in a very, very effective manner. We come down to the hands. You handshake with your people in a partnership basis. Your team is a partner with you. You are part of the team. At the same time, when you come down to the legs, you are being reachable to them. You are not far distant element or an entity that people cannot reach you. You are part of them. Then we come down to the feet, and your approach, you stay with them, you live in them. So this is what the concept of leadership. So the example that we just discussed before, the team of donkeys led by the lion is better than team of lions led by the donkey. That's exactly what it is. The leader is a complete package that you deliver to the people, so you keep the team intact. You lead the team to achieve the goals that have been set forth.
So leadership is not just one thing, it's a set of things. It's a total sum of behavior and intellect, and as well as attitude and all those things that makes leader a leader.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Time for a break. We will come back and talk about what is the difference between leadership and management. Please stay with us. Welcome back. What is the difference between leader and a manager? That's the topic we will be discussing in this segment of the program. So let's start with Dr. Khan. What is the difference between a leader and a manager?
Well, I think this is a very simple thing to understand. Leader, whenever I talk like a layman, because I want a layman to really understand what are those things, so I speak the words which people can understand. So leader came from lead. So you are leading. Now, who you are, you could be any person. And I give you a very small, tiny example before I move into manager. In certain, since I move around the world and I go different places and I deliver lectures and everything, and I have noticed in one part of the world, there is a concept of a tea boy. So a person would assist the guests of his boss whenever they come to serve them tea and coffee and everything. And I remember once I went to a small kitchenette and the person was there. And along my side, the CEO of that company was. And somehow the CEO was very friendly with these people, so he talked with the tea boy. And tea boy told him that, sir, I'm gonna go tomorrow. And I'm going to be, he said, okay, fine, yes, sure. When we came to the office and he said, Mahmood, let me tell you what exactly happened. This gentleman, he told me that I wanted to go out this weekend and buy some supplies. And he said, I told him that, look, I happened to be there in the kitchen and I found that everything was fine. There was no shortage. So how come you want to go out and buy the stuff? He said to me that, look, the supplies that we have are good for 3 days. Okay, comes next week, by Tuesday supplies will be finished. So if you have a customer or friend or guest or somebody on Wednesday, I would not be able to serve them. So what exactly he did? I mean, TY, some people would think that he is relatively, you know, a low profile person. But this gentleman, he exercised all the qualities of a leader. What he did strategic planning. He was thinking of the future. He did good analysis. He analyzed the situation where he was. He used his communication skills. He explained in a way that the person understood his situation. He was a good presenter. He presented his situation, that why he wants to go out and buy the stuff. So at the same time, so this gentleman, this individual, he exercised all the qualities of leader. So would we call that person leader? Yes, indeed. Why not? So leadership is not a title, this is a set of qualities. Now we come to the manager. Manager come from the manage. So when an individual is managing the situation to achieve certain goals, that person is a manager. Sometimes when I deal with the people, they come to me and say, you know what, life is terrible. Life is difficult. Why life is difficult? Oh, because I need to do this and that and people issues, human resource issues, technology issues. And I tell them, I say, you know what, you should be happy. Because you are a manager, you need to manage the situation to achieve the goals. That means you need to be able to maneuver. You need to be able to understand where we are going to, why we are going to. I need to take my team, find the way out and go there. So the difference between leader and the manager is the manager should have leadership qualities, but leader is not a manager. Because as a manager, you manage the things, you maneuver the things. That also means you should expect the issues, the troubles, and the problems, because this is how you actually manage your way out. If there are no issues, no problem that you're managing, then you are not a manager. Who you are an executor. You are just executing it. That's the main difference.
One thing that I got out of that was that one main thing that distinguishes leadership from management is proactivity. Leader can visualize what the future, what can change in the future. How should we plan for the future, as opposed to just driving the bus? He's also thinking when will the bus can break down, when they need to find a new bus, and what kind of roads they can take in the future to make the trip shorter.
Absolutely.
Is that what you were getting at mostly?
Exactly. I mean, one example is when JF Kennedy, he gave a vision that we will be moving to the moon. He didn't say that next year we are going to land on the moon. He set a certain time period. And he didn't set the time period only. He created an organization to deliver it. And at the same time, he allocated certain funds. So a good leader is not a person who only thinks for the future. He also makes the present, adjust the present in such a way that we can achieve those goals for the future. So to be an effective leader, as you rightfully said, you need to be able to deliver a complete package. That includes communication, thinking, presentation, analysis, strategic thinking, all of the above.
Okay. And one thing I will ask you a question about this. We work in a very bureaucratic environment. In all offices, everything has become so specialized, standardized. It's very hard to break away from your role of a manager and become a leader. Is that true from your point of view?
I think we need to understand, as I said a short while ago, that a good manager must be a good leader. So therefore, a manager, you could call a person as HR manager, finance manager, technology manager, general manager, this manager, that manager, but you wouldn't call a person general leader, human HR leader, finance leader. You never call that, because leadership is a quality. So therefore, if you want to be an effective manager, you must be an effective leader. However, if you are a leader, not necessarily that you are a manager.
Okay. When we come back, we will talk about what are the qualities of leadership on an individual level. Please stay with us. Welcome back. In this segment, we will talk about the qualities of leadership on individual level. The variety of things are needed for a leader to be a good leader individually. It's character, inspiration, motivation, appearance, and so on and so forth. Let's start with character. How important is the character?
You see, a leader is like a centerpiece. People look up to you and deliver like you. You ask a small child, what would you like to be? And he would perhaps name a sports person or a technology person, or, so basically, how would he say that I like to be XYZ? Because he has looked at the person and there was something in that person which appealed to this child, and he thought, okay, I would like to be. You ask me, what would you like to be? And I would perhaps have somebody in my mind that I always wanted to be like him. So that means it's basically charisma in the person. It's a character of the person. Now, when we say the leader is an individual who delivers the package with all these qualities and all this, but at the same time, the achievements, the accomplishments are the real thing which actually distinguish one leader from another leader. So the leader is a visionary. If you are in a corporate world, you would perhaps be looking at a person who has excelled in the corporate world. If you are in a sports environment, you may have somebody in the sports who has excelled in that. So for to become an effective leader, you need to have a success story as well. And your success story is basically your introduction. Mm-hmm. And that success story goes a long way.
Right. Let me go back to the character. One thing that really appealed to me was what I was reading from Stephen Covey. And he was saying that in the world we live today, leadership is more focused on personality. If you have a strong personality, if you do this, and if you put this band-aid on your personality, you will become a good leader. But he was saying, no, leadership starts with character. And without character, there cannot be any trust. Team will not trust you, and you cannot, and if they don't trust you, you cannot take them or guide them, as you were saying, into the future. So, you want to take
that's absolutely correct. You see, the character is the main thing which actually make the person different from others. As I said before, the accomplishments and the achievements, those accomplishment achievements, they become part of your character. So you become a role model. Again, let's not forget, leader is an individual who is recognized as a leader. Leadership is not something that you go and achieve by qualification, by education, or you just buy it. Leadership is your outlook. Is your outview. Leadership is the quality or your recognition, is how you are actually recognized by the people. What is it that you have done that you cherish, but at the same time people recognize it? You have different kind of leaders in the world. There are certain leaders that I would perhaps not like them because they have done certain things which perhaps I didn't buy into that. But there are certain leaders that I would love to be them because they have done certain things which I always wanted to. So it's basically, it's your character, it's your thinking, it's your approach that actually distinguish you from from another leader. I'll give you one small tiny example, and that's a real life example. Nobody loves the child more than his parents. That's a natural phenomenon. Now, if I would keep my child always in my lap, in fact, yes, I love my child, but at the same time, I'm essentially not helping him to gain the energy and the strength in his legs. So one day, what I'm going to do, I'll put him on the floor. And I say, my child, it's a time you walk. Somebody might be looking at me and say, Mahmood, what is it you're doing? He might fall, he might, and he might injure. And I will say, you just watch me. So basically, when I put my child on the floor and I ask him to walk, I have my hands around him because I'm thinking that I'm challenging him to do a certain job. However, during accomplishment of my challenge, there is a possibility that he might fall. And if he falls, I'm going to hold him. So this is the leadership. So I'm thinking strategically that this child has to be able to walk. In order for him to walk, he needs to face some challenges. And I have to create those challenges for him. If I do not create challenges, I'm not working as a leader. I'm not leading this team. So I create challenges, but at the same time, I'm not creating challenges that just leave him isolated in the world of challenges. I'm there when he needs me. So my hands are there to support him. So today, when he's gonna fall, I hold him. I put him back. So tomorrow he crawl and then he start walking.
So a good leader trains his team as well.
Absolutely. Good leader is always there for his team. He's always there with his team. He is part of the team. Not the team is part of him. He is leading the team, but he's part of the team. He's not outside the team.
Let me bring in one example. Winston Churchill, very assertive, very well dressed. Gandhi, not as much assertive, not very as well dressed as Winston Churchill. And Winston Churchill had contempt for Gandhi, and he used to call him fakir, and so on and so forth. Two completely different kind of leaders, two completely different appearances. Both of them transformed the 20th century. In your view, does it matter how assertive the leader is, or how he dresses, or how his appearances are?
I think it acknowledges and confirms to what I have just said, because leadership is not what you are. Leadership is how you deliver, how you think, what's your approach, and how you deliver. Because no matter what you're wearing, no matter what your color, I mean, look at Nelson Mandela, look at Martin Luther King. Look at these people, look at Qaid Azam, who created a country from nowhere. This country, Pakistan, never existed. Yet this person did whatever he could, and he created a new country, new thing in the world. So these are the leaders. These are the real practical leadership. So whether it's Mr. Gandhi or Luther King or anybody else, it's actually how you actually deliver, what are your accomplishments, and what is your thinking. That's a leadership. It's not what you wear and what you color, what you are. It's what you actually have delivered and what you have accomplished. That's what makes the difference between the individuals.
Okay, great. Now time for another break. When we come back, we will talk about the long-term vision of leaders and how that is being lost maybe in the world of today for short-term gains. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the final segment of our program today. Are leaders of today losing sight of the long-term planning that we need as a civilization, as country, or as society? Now that's the question we'll focus on in this segment. Do you agree with it that we are more focused on short-term gains as opposed to long-term planning as civilization and as society, and should we blame leaders for that?
I think essentially what's happening is that it's not that we are losing on long term and we are moving more towards short term gains. There are two factors which have actually contributed to this feeling, and I would still use the word feeling, or somehow we suspect that that's what's happening. Number one, in the last 20 years or so, the way technology has emerged, the way technology has changed, it has changed everything quite significantly. Our lifestyle has changed. The things that we used to do just 5-6 years back, and if we think back now, we think, was it ever possible? Those things look, sound so old because things have changed so quickly. So essentially, long-term things which were in the past, they have become short-term now. But the concept is still there. I would not believe that we have taken our eyes off long-term objectives, and we are moving more toward short-term gains. Yes, because of the rapid growth in the technology, our needs have changed. This is why we are trying to achieve the goals so quickly, so abruptly, so fast-paced, and that's why it sounds like perhaps we are getting away from them. However, if we did have this situation, that the leaders were getting away from the long-term goals achievement, then I think we are inviting a major disaster to happen. For example, we knew that oil prices, they fluctuate. The world economy is changing, is ever changing. The world population is ever increasing. So for the leaders, that's an indicator that things are moving into a direction where we may be inviting a major disaster to erupt any time. So did we, and I repeat, did we work on renewable energy resources to think that down the road in 15 years time, our population is going to be X plus something, and our resources, they're going to diminish slowly. So what is it that we need to do to continually provide the services and support to our public? So if we have not looked at the renewable energy resources and made them available to the people at the economic rate that people can essentially use them, then I believe that we as leaders, we have not looked into the long term, we have just looked into short term. And if we really went into that direction, then definitely a major issue is going to happen. Suppose telecommunications, cell phones. If you look at the market right now, you see the different companies, they are coming up with different, plans, unlimited, no contract, blah, 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 all these things. We have spent the time in just, modernizing our cell phones. However, we did not look into the situation. The economical situation is changing. The people who were able to buy a phone for $100, perhaps that $100 has become an issue for them. So they cannot spend $100 to buy a phone, no matter how sophisticated the phone is. And even if they are able to buy $100 phone, they still have to pay $30, $40, $60, $100 for monthly fee. So if the companies have spent all the energy, the time, and the investment in modernizing the phones, not working at the service level, then again we are not looking into the long-term strategic goals. We are just looking at short-term gains. So I would basically say that for any economy to flourish and succeed in the future, the leaders must set some strategic goals, work towards the strategic goals. However, at the same time, keep winning on short-term gains. They both have to work together, hands in hand. You cannot just keep your eye off on one and look at the other one. That's just not possible.
Okay, you have talked about the role of leadership in economic growth. There are some people who argue that because we live in a globalized world, if Canadian businessmen start thinking about long-term and instead of just exclusively focusing on the short term, they will lose out market share to their neighboring countries, so on and so forth. Do you agree with that assessment?
I think we are now living in a bigger, world, in a one word essentially, those times are long gone when we used to think of that country and this country. Now economies are getting together, whether you are looking at the European Union, working together, whether we are looking at Euro coming out, or we're looking at, North American, treaty, or you're looking at Middle Eastern, Gulf Cooperative Council. So economies are getting close to each other. They are not getting apart from each other. So therefore, one economy becomes a cushion of another economy. So if the economy doesn't have a cushion, that means either they are not working at a strategic level, at the global level, or they are basically, they do not have those leadership qualities. And that's how it should work, basically. We cannot just work, we just cannot live in isolation from each other.
Right. One final question. What I've gathered from the ideas that you have brought to the table here is that to succeed economically, to succeed politically, to succeed as a society, we must produce good leaders.
Definitely.
And where does the leadership training start from? Home, university, corporations, or is it something that a person is born with?
That's an excellent question. In fact, once I was asked, I was a keynote speaker in one of the lectures in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, and the question was asked whether it's the gold spoon that the child is born with, or is the environment. Yes, the gold spoon does help, definitely, no doubt about that, but it's your inner side. It's the environment that you basically are nurtured in. It's the leadership. Everything starts from your home. Your parents, your mother, your father, the home. That's the first place where the child gets the knowledge, and then goes into the environment, the society at large. That's where you actually get all the knowledge. So I believe the leader is a born leader with certain qualities, but those qualities can be diminished if the environment is not supportive. So they both have to work together hand in hand. You see, if there is one thing that helps the leader to become an effective leader, and that in my personal opinion, is a communication skills. How you actually communicate, and when you communicate, you are not speaking. You communicate in a manner that first of all you comprehend what you're talking about, and you speak in a manner that person understands and they believe in it. Because once these two things work together, the strategic goals accomplishment becomes very easy. I read somewhere a very nice analogy that if I'm talking with someone, I could say that I didn't say you're stupid. So this message say that I didn't say, I might have written it down, okay, or I might have told someone. I could say I didn't say you are stupid. So that means Somebody else may be stupid, but you may not be stupid, you know. And I could say, I didn't say you are stupid, that you may be lazy, you may be illiterate, but you're not stupid. Now, this might sound like different kind of example, but this example tells you how you express yourself. Your emphasis, your talking, emphasis on certain words, it actually changes the message. So therefore, to become an effective leader, the first thing is that you should become an effective communicator. As they say, a good leader is a person who takes little more than his share of the blame, and little less than his share of the credit. And that's what John Maxwell said. And that's exactly what the leadership is all about.
And the communication skills, they don't just come from within, they're also developed by your family, by your
absolutely, from the
educational
environment.
institution.
Absolutely.
So it takes a global village to raise a leader.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for coming here and sharing your insight with us. We will have you back hopefully again in the future.
Thank you.
To discuss your ideas with us. Thank you once again. Hopefully you have enjoyed the program today. Next week we'll be back with a new program. See you then. Until then, stay safe.